I'm honored to have been selected by the Chicago Police Department to speak with all of you regarding domestic violence. Domestic violence and abuse can happen to anyone, regardless of gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, income, or other factors. I lived most of my life with abuse. It started at a very early age. At around the age of 5 years old, my next older brother began to beat me up out of jealousy. He hated the fact that I got more attention from our mother, so he would beat me up as often as he could. And each time my parents took me to the emergency room, the ER doctor would ask my father the same question: how did this happen to your son? My father's response was, you know, boys will be boys. Then when I was 9 years old, my life changed forever, and I would never be a normal kid again. On that day in January of 1973, I was raped in the bathroom of a local department store. It gets even worse. Years later, in 1978, while I was watching the local news, they were covering a story about a man that dressed up as a clown for kids. He was arrested for killing 33 young boys. His name was John Wayne Gacy. When I saw his mugshot on the television screen, I knew it was him. A part of me went into this deep, deep, deep depression. We started dating long distance, and each of us would travel back and forth during the first year of our relationship. I noticed early on that Eric had similar traits as my ex-wife's. He was extremely controlling and was very jealous when we'd go out. He consumed my life, and I allowed him. Over the next year, he got access to all of my credit cards, my bank accounts. He started withdrawing money from my accounts and running up charges on my credit cards. He demanded I come home right after work every night. I couldn't attend any social events with my coworkers because if I did, he assumed I was cheating on him. Then he became physically abusive. People would ask me how I got a black eye or a scrape on my face, and I would make up excuses. The final straw with Eric was when we got in an argument on my back porch, and he threw me down the stairs, and I landed on the cement pavement. I was in the hospital, and he had broken my arm, and they were casting it. After returning from the hospital, I was taking Vicodin and a bunch of other pain pills. And at that point, I just felt like I wanted to end my life. When I was released from the hospital, my mother came back to Eric's place with me so we could gather up my stuff. Eric begged me not to go. He promised that he'd change, but that was the end for me. At that point, decided I would no longer live with abuse. That day changed my life for the better. After that day, I became a survivor and no longer a victim. I became an advocate for anti-bullying, domestic violence, and child abuse activist. I want everyone to understand that my recovery was not just a switch that I turned on and off and became this person standing in front of you here today. I got help. Please walk away from here today with this message, and I'm going to just spell it out to you really clear. There's always a way out. and a better life. And I'm living proof that you can survive and live an amazing life.